Josh, if you had to choose between two different things, a potentially dangerous trip to the moon, you could die, or settling in Cleveland, Ohio for the rest of your days, what would you choose?
Probably go to the moon. I'm not a fan of Ohio. Was that wrong? Was that the wrong choice?
I'm Joe.
I'm Josh.
You've got questions?
You're feeling grounded.
Welcome to Feeling Grounded with your hosts, Josh and Joe.
So what we want you all to do right now is subscribe to Feeling Grounded Podcast on YouTube, like the video, share this video to any prospective person that might want to enjoy our content, and also follow us at Feeling Grounded Podcast on Instagram and become a patron. We want you guys to be on that platform with us. We genuinely enjoy putting out extra content on there. For only $3 a month, you can see what we're doing on that area.
Joe and I, for the month of August, okay, so starting on August 1st, we're going to do a 30-day men's wellness challenge, okay? And it's done by the Art of Manliness, which I guess maybe we can post it in the description below. Yep. So check it out. It starts August 1st. It's not anything like too crazy. It's like a new experience every day. So it's not like exercise and eat good. It's more like, what are your core values, and like shine your shoes today. But yeah, so guys, check out the description below. You can do it with us. I want to talk about it as during the podcast, as we're doing things, and like discuss how it's going and all that. So yeah, we'll do it together.
Entertainment. Where's the entertainment, guys?
Yeah, so even though this is the entertainment section that we normally talk about entertainment, so today we can kind of word it as like, this is the fault of entertainment.
Yeah.
Or entertainment's to blame here. So I'm super stoked for today. I think this is going to be a really nice conversation that we're going to have. Something that needs to be said. And I just hope people hear what we have to say.
We're talking about the modern man, even like in a sense modern woman being lost, but since we're two guys right here, we're just saying mankind.
It's a little easier for us to talk about.
Yeah, mankind in general. Plus it's easier on the words to say whatever. But it troubles me greatly when I walk about my daily grind and I see so many guys with their heads down, physically speaking, but also metaphorically speaking, with their heads down. I see a lot of guys, what's their typical grind after 18? They're in college, 4 years or so, maybe even 8 years or so. They graduate, all in mind to service debt. But because they have this debt on them, they can't really build this little nest egg in order to, comfortably buy a home or, find a girl or something like that to settle down, for example, until maybe comfortably at the age of 35 in a lot of cases.
Which is such a shame.
And that's like a big mountaintop for a lot of guys that they can't exactly fulfill.
Yeah. As soon as people are done with college, which of course everyone's going to college now, they come out on the other side and things just fall apart. Things just fall apart. Yeah, they have all this debt, ambition, drive, desire, all of it is like not there. And it just makes you wonder, like, what has happened. And now, the average person has like what,
$30,000 worth of student debt.
Like it's insane. One thing like that I was going to say here was, I look about my friends, I look about people like in our age group, and you see individuals who are trying to like better themselves. They're trying to find a career. They're trying to like find that living that everyone is searching for, and no one is really seeming to do that. Like it's like a hard thing to accomplish. To have that great job, which then leads you into whatever's next.
So in my conversations with a lot of men in my life, salt of the earth guys, they're not like flashy or cool, but they're good people. society as a whole looks down on that, it seems. Of course, men fall at that point, you know, with having goals or drive, it seems. Of course, men would fall into nihilism, despair, relativism. It seems as if playing video games day in and day out, they're killing off their days, nothing to aim for. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah. And this is something I feel really passionate about
Yeah.
because I feel this in my own life
Hmm.
when, this happens. And I definitely see it in other people's as well. And this is something I talked about either last episode, 2 episodes ago,
Hmm.
where when we are so involved with technology,
Hmm.
when we spend so many hours in front of a screen, in front of our computer, in front of our phones,
Hmm.
laptop, iPad, television, whatever it is, it kind of like steals us. It like saps our individuality. It like saps our humanity, especially for men. It saps their masculinity. And when you spend hours playing video games,
Hmm.
which I'm not against video games, I love video games. I play them. You know,
I think it's okay to play them. Yeah, like in my own case, I haven't played
Mhm.
them in a while.
Yeah, I mean, there's a balance to everything, right? But
Absolutely.
when you let it steal your life, and you let technology steal your life, it ruins you.
Mm.
It ruins you. Like I said, you lose your individuality, you lose your masculinity.
Hmm.
And we're finding all these statistics that are coming out that are saying this to be true. Well, there was one that I read recently. It was off of this website from that we're going to talk about, the Art of Manliness,
Hmm.
where they said that testosterone levels for our generation are the lowest that they've ever been in men.
Okay.
Lowest that they've ever been. In every generation, like we think about our parents and their parents, or or grandparents, great grandparents, so on. Every time it like decreases a little bit.
Really.
Now between our parents and us, our testosterone levels, just on average, have descended 25%, 25 to 30%
No kidding.
in our who we are, right? In the men that we are, and that is jarring to me.
Mm.
And that's why you look at your parents, you look at your grandparents, and you see that the life that they led,
Hmm.
oftentimes it's so dramatically different
Hmm.
than who our generation of men are. And what my argument is that we are kind of living in a time, in a society, in a culture, just whatever, where we are kind of losing our individuality.
Hmm.
We're losing our masculinity to these things, and it's kind of stealing us.
What does it mean to be a man? We set a mountaintop. I love calling it that. Setting up a mountaintop, something your Everest. Um, and I think like you want to go to the moon or something like that, or you want to climb up Mount Everest. That's what I mean right there. You can't just make that the goal. You have to make that into actionable steps too. Um, no matter how long it takes. And basically everything that we do should be focused on our goal.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, I would go a step further. I don't like the idea of a lot of people are just afraid to go out and say like, well, this is what men are,
Hmm.
because immediately you're feeling that, oh, I'm just going to be hated because of my own opinions or my feelings about what a man is supposed to be.
Yeah.
When oftentimes the world, media, society is trying to tell you who you are.
Hmm.
But I think just based on nature alone is where a certain, like, we are these things.
Yeah.
And so how I would define what a man is four things.
Yeah.
I would say that we are cultivators,
Hmm.
we're defenders,
Hmm.
we're protectors,
Hmm.
and we're lovers. Like, that's what we are.
Hmm.
Now, obviously all these things can be twisted and ruined and destroyed
Yeah.
because of whatever X, Y, and Z, whatever your life is, whatever has gone through to you, whatever has
Hmm.
happened. But those four things are like what a man does best.
Mm.
Okay. Cultivator, meaning that you create, you give, you invest,
Hmm.
like you kind of like use those things to build up others.
Hmm.
Right. And oftentimes people will kind of destroy that and use it to harm others,
Hmm.
or whatever it is. Right. Defender, that's kind of given, right?
Yeah.
Same with protector. So what you have, you try to protect. Like my family, like that's my role as a father and a husband,
Mm-hmm.
is to ensure that my wife and my children are safe at all times,
Mm-hmm.
and regardless. And if I ever see anything happening to them, like it's my duty to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And now you know me, I'm not someone that's like aggressive. Like I'm a really gentle person. Like
But if
I'm,
something
you know,
were to happen right there, you would go,
that is my responsibility.
yes.
That is my responsibility as a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
To protect them. Like, you know, if my wife is being mugged or something and I'm right by, like I'm not gonna just say like, hey, you got it, honey. Like, you know, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be right in there to help her.
Yeah.
That's my role. And then
Mhm.
lastly, love her, right? Like this is the problem of today is society and has destroyed the concept of what love is.
Mhm.
And especially for men,
Mm.
like what does it mean to love? And obviously oftentimes it's mistaken as like physical intimacy, but what love is it's laying down your life for another
Mhm.
person. That's what love is. It's
Mhm.
sacrificing and wanting the good, the greatest good for another person. Like that's
Mhm.
what love is. And our society does not understand that. Our world does not understand that, and sadly men don't understand that.
Mhm.
But that's what it is, and
Mhm.
that's what it means to be a man. And
Yeah.
yeah, so like having that mountaintop, you know, having those goals and striving for them is really important. And
Yes.
that's kind of a part of all that, you know.
So multiple mountaintops can be had for men. For example, have like, do you picture yourself having a family? Do you picture yourself uh it's not like the things that you have. The mountaintops are not things that, oh, I'm going to picture myself having a Ferrari in 40 years. That's not a mountaintop. A mountaintop is really, do you picture yourself with the certain friends that you have? It's more like activities or people that you surround yourself with. I wanted to make that.
Values, right?
I wanted to,
Values.
yes, values too. I wanted to make that distinction. So
Yeah.
sorry if I wasn't as clear about that. But I think one of the best exercises that we can do for that are get away from technology, like for a moment, even maybe for just 10 minutes, and you close your eyes. What do you daydream about? Because if you're on that phone, you're not daydreaming.
Mm.
Daydreaming is good in this exercise. What do you daydream about? Do you daydream about having a family? Do you daydream about having like a certain group of friends at this certain types of functions? Do you dream about going to the Everest? Do you dream about going to travel the world or something like that? What have you?
Yeah, being a leader, being a
Yes.
boss,
Yes.
being whatever it is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is that your dream?
Yeah.
Or is it your dream to, you know, be happy and satisfied? Is it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be?
Do you daydream about going to the moon, or would you rather settle for Cleveland, Ohio, like I said
Yeah,
before?
exactly.
Like if you hear somebody say that based on your previous conversation, I'm just going to settle for being the Pizza Hut manager at Cleveland, Ohio. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Exactly. And that's so many conversations that I've had with so many men younger and older than me.
Yeah, it's like it's like the drive is gone. It's like the thing that fires us, our ambition, our motivation, our whatever is like
Mhm.
is missing today.
Mhm.
And technology addiction has
Is
a
making
big
it
role in
seems to
that.
be it seems to be making us settle.
Well, because what you think about, right? So what happens with all this stuff? Scrolling through social media, like people, it's happened to all of us where we get stuck in that loop where we spend hours on our phone just looking through, and it's like you forget what you're doing. You don't realize what you're doing.
Mhm.
But what's happening in your brain is you're getting those dopamine triggers and the fires of, these
As
chemicals that are
if
kind of rushing through you, which is a
as if you have, as
motivation.
if you have done an action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what it is, it's a motivation. It's the feeling that I'm going to achieve something, that I'm going to get something out of this.
Mhm.
And then what happens there is it affects that the neurological center in our brain that's releasing this a chemical, or I forget the
Mhm.
title of it. And every time, the longer that we do this, the more that we need, and it shrinks, and it harms that motivational trigger within our
Mhm.
brains. So
Mhm.
then in my own life, just doing work, just doing something that's healthy, like
Mhm.
that has a less response, is harder to do.
Yeah.
So that's why individuals who are lost in these things struggle with accomplishing anything, with having like a drive through their work, having ambition and accomplishing things. They just can't do it. because of this inability to be motivated and to have the energy, the drive, the self-discipline to push them through it, because it is ruined by the stuff that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this breaks down to, I think, 100%. And, you know, a lot of stuff has come out and said this. And I think what we need is to do what you just said, to take a break from this stuff, to just take a step back and realize that there's so much more. And the amazing thing about the human body is it heals itself. It takes care of itself. And the longer that you spend away from things, the more you'll see that like you will be driven again. You will have desires again. You'll be motivated and get things done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the reason that we're actually having this conversation, you guys listening, is because Josh turned me on to this 30-day challenge that we are doing as guys. 30-day from Art of Manliness. They came out with this list maybe about 10, 12 years ago. Basically a 30-day challenge to be a better man. And we are currently on day 7 at the moment in time of this filming. But, you know, day 1, what are your core values?
If you want to start today, just start today. Now we started on August 1st.
Yeah, link in description.
Yeah, so we're gonna put the link in the description. We'll have maybe the PDF, because they came out with a PDF, which is awesome. I don't know if you've looked at the PDF, Joe. Yeah. So on the very first day, it says you need to define your core values. And this big argument is kind of what we're talking about. How this guy is saying, like, listen, like, when I look at older gentlemen, when I think about my dad, my grandparents, I'm seeing someone who's driven and who has core values and they're striving for those core values. And so you as a man need to like come up with these and know why you are alive, why you are living, and what you're living for. And so for me, if I put my faith is everything, right? My marriage, my children. I said, what else did I say? I said peace, because I love peace. And then lastly, I said kindness and strength, as that's who I am. Because those 5 things, like, I just want to strive everything for those 5 things. And I'm going to do everything in my power to like make those things beautiful and good and true and, you know, worth everything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Those challenges, daily challenges, they are very specific in that PDF. So if you feel like you're a little bit lost, they do help you out with step-by-step actions to take. And it's actually kind of comforting to hear that, like, yeah, it's going to be hard for this specific challenge today, but yada, yada, yada.
I love the stuff that's practical. Like, I think day 4 was like increase your testosterone.
Yes. And then day 2 was shine your shoes.
Yeah.
I liked doing that. I liked having like just putting like something on TV and just doing that. I put a second coat on after drying it. It was kind of monotonous, but still relaxing at the same time. It sounds weird to say that.
No, that's good. That's good. Just because there's like things that you can do to better and improve yourself. And I love that. Like, I love like challenges like this. I love just going through seasons where like, I'm going to try to better myself and I'm going to clean up the gunk in my life and I'm going to try to be the best man that I can be. And that's the one thing that's like so important, that we can't be sedentary with our lives. We can't just be like happy with mediocrity. Like, that's not what we were made for. We weren't made just to skirt through life or to be harmless. You know, all the stuff that like Jordan Peterson says, like, you're meant to like slay the dragon and whatever that is. And you can't do that if you're just sitting on the couch. You know, and that just doesn't mean that everyone is meant to go on runs or everyone's meant to like, no, obviously you're made a certain way and you do what you do and everyone has different personality types. But it's just understanding that like we have to push for our best self, whatever that is, the best version of who we are. And if we don't do that, then what's the point?
Yeah, you're going to be at the very end of your life. Will you have anything to show for it, or will you be filled with regret? And regret, I have found even in my short time on this earth, that it is one of the worst feelings that could ever befall you.
Yeah.
Because it's a feeling that the best way I can describe it is something that corrodes your soul. Regret.
What that's saying is like, time that I have spent was not beneficial.
Yes.
It was not good, or it harmed people, or it hurt others. And it's just looking negatively at something that I've done. Now, it's important to say that this does not define you. This does not define who you are. So, and that's something that's like a negative feedback loop that we find ourselves in, where I'm struggling with something, and then all of a sudden this defines me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is who I am, when that's not true. That's not true. Like, we all we're made to be good and to be good.
Yeah.
And just because we have difficulties in our lives, just because we have pain, we have addictions, we have struggles, those struggles, that pain, all that stuff does not define who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's every day you have a chance to renew who you are and to better yourself and to choose the good.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that every moment of every day. Now, obviously, it's much harder when you have difficulties and you have struggles, which then you have things like therapy and things you can go through. But it's always important to realize you're good, dang it, and choose to be good.
Mm.
You're all good men, and let's all strive to be the best men that we can be, dang it.
Mm-hmm.
The future is inevitable, but let's travel back in time.
So for timeline, today is August 11th, Wednesday, August 11th. I'm going back to August 11th, 1984. So President Reagan, he joked about bombing the Soviet Union. So Reagan, he usually had a weekly 9 a.m. live broadcast. And in this case, it was in Santa Barbara, California. And he said,
As my fellow Americans, I'm pleased to tell you today that I've signed legislation that will outlaw Russia forever. We begin bombing in 5 minutes.
I love this. That's so funny to me.
it's so hilarious. Because he's a natural actor. That's how he got his start. But very soon this got to the media,
Of course.
and parodies and of course critics came out on the offense against him, especially Soviet news agency. They called themselves TASS. I think that was their acronym. And they said this isn't responsible of him, which you can argue that, sure. But it's funny. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev and him had a better, and close relationship. Anywho, that's just the long and short of it. But had Twitter or social media been
Oh my gosh.
present during that time, we have gaffes of presidents even today. But it's just very interesting, that gaffe, how it would have gone. Probably the same way.
Well, the thing is Ronald Reagan would never have been president in today's world. But
Fair enough.
and I think he was one of those presidents that this is kind of where the divide began, was with Ronald Reagan. Because the media did destroy him, because the liberal media hated him at the time. I mean, it's just a bit of fun,
Yeah.
like he just did that silly thing, and of course he got ripped to shreds for it. But
I had not known that.
Yeah, he was a great man. He was a really great man. But again, like with any politician, there's always a big group of people that don't like them. Half the country, right? Is not the expression. August 11th, 1964. August 11th, Hard Day's Night was released. A musical comedy film featuring the Beatles was released in the United States. So this got a lot of attention, right?
Of course.
Would you agree? I did not grow up watching this. I know a lot of people that
Really?
did. The first time I saw it was a couple years ago, and I loved it.
With Claire.
It's Claire, and her family, and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
I really
I have
appreciate
it in my DVD sets back there. That was the first. Actually, no. When we had old Blockbuster video stores back in the day, because I did grow up with it as a child.
Yeah, I did too.
I
Hollywood Video.
had got it of my own accord. I think my own money, I believe, and I think I bought it also with help. Yeah, their second feature film the year after.
Which was the year after, which was released on the same day too.
Same day. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's another timeline.
That's another timeline. 65.
Yeah, I basically watched them all in the same weekend. It was just amazing to be exposed to a whole bunch of music at that point in time, because I'd never heard any of those songs. It was only Pepper, and then that was it, because I wanted to expand my horizons.
I feel like that's a majority of people. They begin with Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah. So looking at that early Beatles, I was enthralled. Because it was at the height of Beatlemania, and it was just a fantastically made film too. Not really shown on cable too often, which
yeah, you never really see. I mean, I never heard about it until
once or twice. Once or twice I've seen it.
The yeah, it's like British humor, And
Yeah, very Monty Python-esque.
yeah, just kind of like the dry, but kind of, I guess, witty sort of.
Hmm.
Um, and it's funny. I laughed at it.
And there's no setup to it at all for the joke,
Yeah.
which it takes a lot for people to get used to, especially this day and age.
Yeah, it's kind of like one-liners, almost like witty one-liners.
Yep.
In a way, I guess you could say, kind of like insults. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's very funny. Now, my question is, this probably isn't the case. When was the album released?
It was released earlier in the year. I think it was March of that same year. It's different because in the US and the UK, they had different pressings, they had different track listings. So it's very difficult to pin down unless like you do your research. The UK EMI album was released, it was recorded between January and June based on their touring schedule, and it was released as an album July 10th.
Okay, so basically like a month.
Yeah, so to hype people up, and that was a fantastic move, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, and then to drop the movie.
And then for Help, the release date for that album, I believe, was August 6th. So,
Oh, wow, so even closer.
Yeah, so it's basically around the same time, like maybe a week or so before. So
nice, very cool. So then I guess the people would have listened to the music first, and then got excited about this movie coming out. Yeah, Horror's Day Night, it got a lot of attention. Definitely did. I've seen it on like lists of like top 100 movies of all time.
Yeah.
Because there's just something about the Beatles, man. I tell you, like they were the band that like brought celebrity culture to musicians and to like everybody's lives. I feel like, especially rock and roll, because this was a time. This was a band that like everyone listened to.
Yep.
Like parents and kids alike, like everyone loved it.
Yep.
Which is crazy to think about, because today I think that's not really the case today. Like if my kids like pop, like an artist coming up, like I probably wouldn't know them or like them or listen to them. But like the Beatles, like everyone liked the Beatles, which is crazy.
I think celebrity culture first started with Elvis, but then it was catapulted even further with
but the thing
Beatles.
with Elvis is people didn't like Elvis. Like the moms and like the older generation did not like Elvis because
of how he
was. I see
similar between Elvis and the Rolling Stones, because they were the difference between good boy Beatles and then raunchy Rolling Stones, because they represented
rebellion, right?
Teenage rebellion. That's what I meant.
Drugs and rock and roll. That was the whole thing. And the Beatles, they were a little more professional about it, at least at first. And then obviously when the late 60s came, they fell apart. But
they were still poetic about most of their stuff too.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really, I guess, until Paul came out and said that they do LSD. Like,
good point.
And then they kind of lost that image that they had. Insert
"Why don't we do it" in the road.
Exactly. That's what. Because before that, it was like more innocent. That was kind of how the culture was too. Like, a lot of things were happening. There was a lot of problems at home, and I think about, which is something we should talk about. We should talk about a James Dean movie,
Rebel Without a Cause.
Rebel Without a Cause.
Yeah. I've got it on DVD.
Yeah,
we can do
it's
that.
So good. It's so good. And we should talk about that one, because that's pretty cool. So that's kind of like where things are falling apart. But like when we look back and see what the time period was like a lot of people are like the 50s was the best time to be alive, because we kind of look at it with rose-tinted glasses.
We do, because
there's a lot of issues still, just like today. There's always going to be issues in in society, but I think it was hidden more. Like it wasn't in everybody's face, because people were honorable and they wanted to be respected, and they didn't want the stuff to be known. So there was that innocence, and then the mid to late 60s came, and then that all kind of fell apart, and it became popularized to be more, what's the word, not as innocent, I guess.
Yeah,
to just come out as what you're doing, like your sex life and your drugs that you're taking. And
was that it seems like there's a similarity between that and relativism, like doing your own thing.
Yeah, I think so. And that's the major problem with today. That's something we can talk about too, is relativism. I can go hours talking about how awful it is, because that destroys everything. Destroys morality, destroys truth. Like if you do you, that concept completely ruins humanity, because then there's
Who do
no
you have holding
accountability.
people accountable if not for the rest
Exactly.
of
There's
society?
there's no accountability except for, what people impose upon me or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Which even then it doesn't matter because what you impose doesn't matter. Like what you think doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And that's the danger of relativism. But anyways, so that's for a different day.
All right.
Anyways, so timeline, yeah. 1964, Hard Day's Night came out. And then 65 helped it.
It's time for Happy Crappy.
How's your week been?
My week has been, it's been okay. Some monotonous stuff going on since I had finished work. I've been sleeping in just a tad bit later, which I don't really like. I like waking up around like 6 o'clock or earlier. It's just me. But other than that, it hasn't been too hectic, which I need that recuperation.
Sure, that's good. It's good to get that rest in.
How about you?
I had a hard week, to be honest. There's kind of a lot of crazy stuff that happened that required my attention. So like on, let me see, was it Monday or Tuesday? One of those days, my wife and I were getting ready for bed, and it was like 10 p.m. or so. And we're just laying in bed or reading, and all of a sudden, I see something moving. And so I look up from my book, and there's a freaking bat flying around my bedroom. And I spaz, and so my wife spazzes because I spazzed. And we both roll off the bed and then crawl into our bathroom, which is connected to the bedroom.
Did you close it to the outside rooms?
Yeah. So what happened?
Okay.
I had to we went through to the bathroom and we're like, what the heck's going on? And then we walked out because there's two doors. So it's like a suite style.
Mhm.
So there's my bedroom, and then there's into the bathroom, and then there's the door into the hallway to go down the stairs from there.
So let me get this straight. So you've been in this house for just a couple of weeks.
Right.
Doing all this construction and whatnot, all the doors open, close by all the stuff that you're moving in.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, a bat is hiding out for those 2 weeks.
No.
Oh, okay.
So
That's some alien stuff right there.
yeah, that is right. I end up locking it or closing the doors so it's in our bedroom, and then I managed to get it trapped into our bathroom because it flies into the bathroom. I ran in freakily, and I opened there's a window by the shower. I opened up the window, and then after like an hour and a half, 2 hours, about midnight, it finally disappears. And so I'm assuming that it flew out the window.
Assuming.
I never found it. I haven't, but I did this like once where I like peeked in the door and I didn't see it. So then I went inside, and then it was just like hiding somewhere, and it flew out and, scared the crap out of me. But this time I think it was really gone because I looked everywhere, and yikes. We called animal control that night. That had a 24-hour service.
And you know what? They didn't call me back.
So it's not 24 hours. So that's when I had to take care of it myself.
Did any of your kids wake up during this momentous occasion? Oh,
Nope.
great.
Which is pretty amazing. I know we were slamming and there was like screaming and
You trained them well. You trained them well.
Yeah, well, they're very good sleepers, which is great. So anyway, so what happened is, so we have an attic stairway, like you pull the cord and it comes down.
Yep, classic.
So there's a little gap, so it doesn't close all the way when you shut it. So it hangs down a little bit because the stairs are heavy. And so turns out we have a bat infestation in our attic. So that's awesome. So that's great. So I screwed off the stairs, the attic, so it's closed, sealed up. And then a couple of days ago, we got another animal control guy who helped us. And so he like installed a one-way door for the bats to get out and not to come back in. And all this stuff is going to come back and plug it and check it and like, whatever. But so that was like really, really annoying. So that was something that happened.
Man, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's just one of those freak things where you're like, you never expect this to happen to you, and then it does. And then you're like, wow, like like hopefully never happens again, because it's like, you know, like a once in a lifetime thing. So it was an eventful week. On top of like other stuff happened, but it's not really worth saying. But that was like the most like crazy. And like so I called an animal control guy, and then in the morning they called me back. So supposedly they're open 24 hours. They're not. They called me in the morning and were like, "Yo, sorry, we don't do bats. Good luck." And I was just like, "Thanks, man." Like literally at 7:30, he was this random guy. I was like, "Yeah, we don't do bats, so I'm really sorry, but I hope, you know, just good luck with this." It's like, you're an animal control guy, and on their website,
animal control.
on their website, the first picture is a bat.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What the heck?" So then I ended up calling my wife ended up texting somebody else, and anyways, that's my crappy, having a bat in the house.
Okay. My crappy was just monotony after work, and basically waiting for vacation, which is coming up next week to start, which leads me into happy. I booked a trip to Acadia National Park, and I'm heading there for a few days on Monday. So by the time that this is airing, I will still be there.
Nice.
Never been to Maine before, so it's going to be great to make my way down there. I hadn't been to a national park since
Colorado or Minnesota? Where'd you go?
Wyoming.
Montana, Wyoming.
Wyoming. Yep.
Nice.
So I'm very excited.
Just by yourself? You just going by yourself? Just driving out?
Again, absolutely.
Yeah. Nice. That's great, man.
Yeah.
Jelly. Are you doing tent? Are you doing a hotel, a cabin? What are you doing?
It'll be a hotel quite near the park. I don't want to. I don't
going there during the days, and then
I don't want to do no camping again. Yeah. So I will probably still get to the park at the crack of dawn.
That's great. Yeah, that's fun,
and
man.
do some exploring.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I told you we're going to Ocean City in a couple weeks, so we're excited about that. I love national parks, and I've heard that Maine is so beautiful. So I hope you have a great time when you go. Yeah, I used to do a lot of like camping, with like tent camping, and I enjoyed it when I was a kid. But then when I got a little bit older, I was like, "This is awful," because you don't sleep. It's so hot.
It's amazing how intolerant we are the older we get.
That's so true. Because when you're kids, it's like anything goes, everything's new and exciting. And then when you're older, it's like, ugh, this sucks. I just want a bed and an air conditioner. That's all I want. RV is nice though. Going with an RV. My family did that a couple times, where we went to Delaware and then somewhere else too, and we did RVs. Or maybe just once. And that was really great, like sleeping in an RV. Because you get the whole experience, but then also you get to have AC and a bed. Closed off from animals and bugs.
And you can sleep in a Walmart parking lot.
That's right.
Because it's all free.
It's good stuff. Yeah, I'm excited for you. I want to hear all about it. My happy is that the carpet is in the house and it's all set up. I moved a lot of furniture, which was hard by myself, but I did it. Took me a little while, but I set up the projector and the sound speaker. So basically it's like a media room, movie theater space. Also playroom for the kids, like all the toys is in there now. And it's really great. It's so nice to feel like the house is done. We relaxed. Last night we watched Avengers Endgame, and it was amazing. And tonight her sisters are coming over, and we're gonna watch Fellowship of the Ring, the extended edition. I just blast Fellowship. That soundtrack is so good.
They have the audiobook with that Howard Shore music on YouTube, I think.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, very cool. Yes, that's my happy. The house is basically done, like I said. At least I'm not picking up another paintbrush. I'm not picking up any more furniture. We're good. We're good.
So what we want you all to do right now is subscribe to Feeling Grounded Podcast, like this video, and share to any person that might want to enjoy our content. Follow us also on Feeling Grounded Podcast on Instagram. Also become a patron on Patreon. We put exclusive content out there for only $3 a month. You guys will be able to enjoy our content in that area. Also, To put it bluntly, on Instagram, you guys get to see a bunch of other content as well for free. The link in our bio on Instagram has a bunch of other mediums that we are on, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We appreciate you guys. This was a fantastic discussion. I hope you guys were able to watch the whole thing. I hope you guys have a fantastic day.
Let's keep the conversation going. I want to see comments under this video, and I want to see what you guys think. Like, do you disagree with us? Do you think that men are doing great today? Or like maybe you can talk about your own struggles in your own life. Like, let's get that conversation going and just like get some love and positivity going on in the comments below. Okay, and I'll be there. I want to chat with y'all. I'll be checking and chiming in, and maybe Joe will do the same.
Well, I will.
Leave some questions, right? We want to do some questions segments.
Sounds good. You've got questions?
If you're feeling grounded.